Huddersfield. Ever heard of it? Well, it's a shithole like the rest of the fucking UK. Anyways, why am I even saying this? We have another unique guest today. He's originally Georgian, but his family, with him, they moved to the UK in the beginning of the 2000s. That's when the country was actually amazing. So one thing you need to understand is that whenever I'm talking shit about the UK, I'm always talking about the modern UK, because I've never seen this amazing London back in the 2010s or something. I'm only talking about the current UK. Well, we're gonna open up some of my traumas from my days in Manchester, and our guest is. How should I introduce you? Are you more of a businessman? Are you more of a what would you like to call yourself?
I think a bit of a cocktail. So a bit of everything. So yeah, business, general 9 to 5, corporate job. Yeah, and
more importantly, he's done it all. In both of these countries, in the UK, in Georgia, and he's gonna break down, the advantages, disadvantages. Why did he choose to come back here and live his life here? Because he had plenty of options, to be honest. With the UK passport, you can basically go anywhere. Like some people like to move to Dubai or Bali, but he's back. It has to do something with the nationality being part of your identity also, but it's deeper than that. It's more technical, and we'll be talking mostly about those kind of things. Anyways, he is the one that helped me initially move to Manchester because it's impossible to rent an apartment.
So he did
there.
that to you? I think I think the main part of our guest today will be that we're gonna listen to an actual perspective. Because he has experienced both of the parts, not just like Levan, who's saying like, "Oh, I lived 2 years in UK and I know everything about it and it's shit, etc." So
I know enough, though.
2 years is not enough. No.
The thing is, my perspective is also kind of unique because I was an actual immigrant there. I moved there. I tried to make it there, and my perspective is from someone. His perspective is. He literally lived in both
that's
places.
what I'm saying.
So I tried to live there and it didn't work out. So my takes have a right to exist. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, we have Ilia here. He's a great guy. He's not as famous as some of our guests. You might have noticed that we're not trying to invite anyone famous. That's not what we're doing here. What we're trying to do is find out how the regular but successful people do in their lives. What decisions are they making to, how do you decide where to live? You can live in Georgia, in the UK, everywhere. You mentioned something interesting in the beginning that if you have a career and if you have money, most likely you're gonna find any type of place interesting, but let's just go deeper into that. And first of all, just tell us about yourself. And cheers and thanks for coming to our podcast. Welcome to Modern 9 to 5.
Yeah, welcome to Modern 9 to 5. Cheers.
By the way, this is our sponsor, Wine Delivery G. I won't tell you much about them. Just go on their website and they have a wide variety of wines and you're going to love them.
Yes, you can also see it in the description below on our video.
Yeah, damn right. All right, Ilia, feel free to take the stage.
A bit of a background. So I originally moved to the UK about 22 years ago. So I was there for 20 years. And my family were an immigrant, so we moved out there. That was around, just like you mentioned, the good times of when sort of Georgia was around that time. I think it was a quite difficult time in Georgia, especially for larger families and things. So we moved out there, and I basically developed my sort of childhood life and sort of teenage life.
Remind me, your family moved with you guys were already three children, right?
Four, yeah.
Four
so
children.
There's 3 boys and my sister. So there was 4 of us. So
which brother do I not know?
You may not know my younger one.
Okay.
Maybe not. Oh no, you don't know my older one. Sorry.
Oh,
you know my younger one.
I didn't know there was the older one.
There's an older one. Yeah, the oldest one. Yeah. So yeah, we sort of moved out there, and I basically developed as a just a British boy, really. So I was about 9 years old when I moved out there. So generally, as when you're sort of developing as a person, it's around that time when you're sort of growing up and you're learning things. So it was quite easy to adapt because I was straight away into school. By the way, I didn't speak any English when I moved out there.
Oh,
so
really?
In about 6 months' time, I was speaking the exact same English as I am speaking right now, which is quite. When you're a child, you're like a sponge, right? So you're picking everything up, especially when your surroundings are like everything is British. Your school friends are British and things like that.
It's easier as a child, right?
Yeah. So So I developed as my young life over there, and sort of got into sort of a few different type of. I started working quite young actually, so I started. My sort of my upbringing was always very much like you've got to be working. You got to, even if it's a small job, you've got to be working. So my first job was actually I was a paper boy, so I was delivering.
When you were how old?
I think I was about.
Wait, is that the job when with the bicycles they throw the?
That's in the US.
The one that we see in the films, they are throwing.
Yeah, it's not.
I always
these
wanted
papers,
to do that shit, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, when
I
you
guess
go
that's
out and you're just drinking coffee and you're just taking that paper and.
Yeah, exactly. It's not quite like that in the UK. You're not on a bike. You're walking. Yeah, you have a little trolley.
I mean, the whole point was to be with the bike.
So I was about 14 years old when I first started doing that. It was just like it's a thing that you start doing before school. Very early. Mainly old people like their newspaper delivered. So that was my first job. So, and then after that, sort of started going into family business and things like that. Then I went to university quite later on. I was about 20. How old was I? 22 years old when I went to university.
The first time, the bachelor?
The first time, yeah. So
Before you've been only working.
Yeah, I was working before that.
Yeah, that's
so,
first cultural difference.
Right. So the family was okay with that.
Yeah. My dad was a businessman. He's a businessman, so he got me into his business straight away. But I sort of my sort of side of things is more creative. I'm a bit of a creative individual. So I went to art school. So I studied graphic design illustration. So. And then when I graduated, I soon started to realize that this was just a hobby and I didn't really enjoy it as just everyday work. It became, I did about just under a year of work in that field, in the creative field, and it didn't sort of fit with me. I didn't enjoy that. So I sort of started exploring other aspects in life, did different sort of experiences, different fields of work. My degree was basically a waste of time. It wasn't. I think what I got out of my degree was the experience, the student life.
I don't know a single person in the graphic design that actually has a degree. They're doing fine. So I'd say
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't actually need a degree to be a graphic designer or illustrator. You can be self-taught. You can learn on platforms nowadays that are, you pay £25 a month for, and you can learn a lot of skills on there. So I think that's the thing that I got out of my degree was the experience of the student life experience. I think when I look back to it, I don't regret having. I still have a student loan, by the way. I don't
really.
I don't pay it, but I still have it. So
what do you mean
pay
you don't?
Well,
didn't you get kicked out of the country or something?
No. Basically, as long as you're sort of like, if you're working in the UK. And you're over a certain threshold, like I don't know how much it is. If you're not declaring your money, basically, you don't need to pay for it.
Okay,
there's a way around it. There's a way around it. Yeah.
Okay, first interesting topic.
If
Yeah.
you will
maybe don't mention that on the.
No. I mean, what I'm
Nobody's
interested
gonna
is
know.
that
But we don't have as many viewers.
let's suppose you go back and now you show and now you declare. Some kind of a money. Will it be renewed and you need to pay it back?
You still need to pay it. It's for life, basically.
Right, but unless you don't show,
you remember the other girl we had, Mary.
Yes.
who said the similar thing, like 30K.
Yes, but she
student
never
loan.
mentioned that she's not paying.
I think she is paying though. That's why she didn't mention. But
When I lived in the UK, I was paying it.
So you like broke the system. You found a loophole there.
Yeah, the loophole. Yeah. So when I was living in the UK, of course, you're declaring your funds there, right? You're you're official basically, right? You're on the books, as they say. So you have to pay for it, right? It comes straight out of your wage. It's automatically.
Oh yeah, it's automatically.
It's automatically, right? But when if for example, if you're in a business, you're on your business, you don't have to show any, everything that you make. For example,
wouldn't the audit come and check? Like let's say you're associated in some sort of business. Like I thought that was like a Georgian thing, to be honest. We do here and there, like a little bit of tax avoidance, and it's fine.
The only thing that they do generally is they send you out a letter every year, and basically on there it says like how much you're making, are you working at the moment, or are you? And then there's a section on there that it says I'm living abroad, right?
Okay.
So or traveling. I just tick that every year and send it back off.
Wait a second. Okay, so I have so many questions.
So me too. I mean, so it's also just personally about you because your family is still working there. But if they are making money there, it doesn't concern you, right? Since it's your loan.
It's my loan, yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't concern
And the thing
else.
is, like, you still work in the British company, right? From here.
Yeah.
So how do, just because you live here,
I
does
get
it change
paid on a
it?
Georgian bank.
How?
I just do.
Wow, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was possible. Like in my previous international job, like they used to pay me in my Revolut account, which is like, the British one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to declare something that I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to probably. I'm not even supposed to have that account because like my residence permit in the UK is actually expired. So, like if Revolut will ask me that,
You will be like, I don't know.
Just update your residence. I don't know, just send me the latest bill of the electricity or something, which is how they do the verification. I won't be able to do it. I mean, unless your family is going to help me out like you guys used to.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's weird. So you get paid in Georgian account from the British company, and you are telling the UK
that I'm traveling, yeah. So mainly that's what people.
What does it change? Like, why are you not eligible?
They don't go into sort of tracking your accounts. If your accounts are in the UK, they have all access to that. They can see how much money is coming into your account. Not in a Georgian bank. They don't even know you have a Georgian bank.
I was talking to ChatGPT about this kind of stuff. So I was getting paid not that long ago on the platform. And it's like similar to PayPal, but the company is called actually Deal. But it's similar to PayPal. Yeah, I mean the platform itself. So you get paid money there, and you can attach any bank card, whichever you want. Like can be British, can be Georgian. So I was just I was trying to not pay taxes basically. And at a certain threshold, like you have to pay taxes in Georgia also, like above 200,000 lari a year. And thankfully, I was making a little bit of more than that. So I was classified as a 20% tax, like even as a small business owner.
Yeah.
So I was trying to is it okay to send some of this money to Revolut and send some of those in Georgian bank? Like that was my strategy. And ChatGPT told me that if you do that, like those banks most likely will get in contact and
So they can still track you. That's what I said.
Like if I get suspicious, like if somebody in Georgia sees that I'm making 200K in Georgia a year is kind of a lot of money. Not that many people make it, right? So somebody might start asking questions. Why is this guy not paying his 20% or whatever?
Yeah, sure.
And if he digs a little bit deeper, then the bank has the option to ask, where is this money coming from? Like let's say in this case the Deal platform. And then Deal platform will just have to say that, okay, he is transferring some of this money to Georgian bank and some of the other stuff in the Revolut. and then they have the option to even ask Revolut. Like the Revolut would be obliged to kind of give this information to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think with.
But I don't know. I thought that was like a common practice, but it seems like it's not.
I think with any sort of like. If you give somebody, for example, a student loan, a reason for them to investigate, they can retrieve banks from any type of financial institute. Doesn't matter if it's in Thailand or it's in Georgia or it's in the UK.
You just shouldn't get too political.
So you just don't give them a reason, So as long as they don't see that it's there's ridiculous amounts of money coming into your account, then they don't really ask questions. It's a normal thing in the UK. People graduate.
So it's the same. It's not that much of a difference. Like you can bend the rules a little bit if you play your cards right.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Well, you're not really breaking the law. You're sort of you're bending the rules, just like you said.
But you're paying the regular 45% tax, right? In the UK.
Yeah.
Because that's automatically taken off.
Yeah.
Are you paying the pension also?
Yeah, private pension. Yeah. And state pension, so you're paying things like that. But as long as you don't go over a certain threshold from there, then you're okay. So it's as if you have good communications with the company that you're working for, you can sort of bend the rules in a sense of like, pay me this much in my British bank, pay me this much in my Georgian bank, as long as you've got loyalty there. Because I've worked for the company that in the UK for a while. And then sort of when I moved over to Georgia. The talks of sort of working remotely wasn't really on the table for them. But when, due to, of course, my loyalties to them, they offered me the role to work, in Georgia remotely. So there was negotiations.
Okay.
Just like with any.
So it's still about good connections. And,
it is.
How you act and how do you do.
That's where I messed up, to be honest. Probably, with Revolut, it's like I was trying to get them to let me work from Georgia, and they wouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't even have asked. Like maybe I was a little bit too, not to say stupid, but inexperienced. Like some of my Georgian colleagues. I don't know if I should declare this, but
this information is actually priceless. For some people,
if they're gonna watch, like there are a lot of takeaways, guys,
but they are not doing it.
If you think about it this way, right? Some people do this type of thing. It's not illegal. It's a complete normal thing.
Yeah,
where you can basically. A company wants to employ you, but you can ask them to be self-employed yourself, and you're basically a contractor for them. So you're not paying your 60% tax if you're earning over 100K. So you're basically self-employed. You're putting through things for your, finances.
You're a freelancer, basically.
You're a freelancer.
Right?
You're a contractor. But in reality, it's the same thing. The person is just not employing you on the books.
Yeah.
You're self-employed, and you pay way less to the government.
That's I was a contractor with this, previous it has its downsides also. Like they can just fire you like that, but still, it's a cool thing because you're not paying much taxes. So what I was saying, like this other person that I know who worked for, okay, I'm just gonna say it, Revolut, basically. Well, she ignored some of the rules. She came back to Georgia. She's been working from here, even though you're not allowed like more than 4 months or something. I don't remember the exact. Rules, but so she started working for the other company also, and she was working for 2 companies at the same time, and basically she had already made up her mind that she was going to quit Revolut. But she didn't notify them. She waited like solid 6-7 months to get the bonus.
She milked.
But she did it the right way, bro. She was already getting paid in this other company, and she wouldn't miss the meetings or something. But let's say she was not performing as she used to.
That's smart. Yeah. That's smart.
And she got the bonus, and then she even quit with the more or less nice reputation, even in Revolut, and. That's I didn't even know that you could do something like that. But like that's the thing. Like people assume, myself included, that those cool, highly valued companies are very organized and stuff. But bro, they missed such a simple stuff. For example, the laptop that they gave me 2 years ago, it's still apartment of my buddy in Manchester because I have no POC to send that thing.
Yeah.
Like they don't respond to my emails. It's been going on for 2 months, and then I was like, okay, I'm leaving country, guys. Like, can I send it to somebody? So can somebody just pick it up? And they were like, no response. And then I had no option to like some of my friends like just take it. And
But I don't think that they are missing that part. It's just that there are so many things ongoing in my understanding.
I mean, there is a department that handles that kind of thing, right?
Really small part of that if you are trying to do and alter and bend some rules.
That's where we disagree,
on your point.
I mean, it's not just me, right? There might be hundreds of other cases, and there's a department that handles, inventory. So you're responsible to get your equipment back, right? If you're not getting any of those back, then what are these guys doing? Somebody has to ask, right? It's a financial black hole in the company. Anyways, like we're moving the wrong direction.
Interestingly enough, you were saying about the laptop. I used to work for a company. They I think it was about a year and a half I was working for them. They gave, after about 6 months, they gave me a company car. And when I quit the job, I had that car for about 3 months after I quit, which was very strange. I was using a company car that I no longer work for a company. So things like that can happen as long as they can remember to take their, items back.
Damn,
they don't ask. It's strange.
Exactly. I mean, I just don't understand if I was running this company and if I had a department who is handling that kind of stuff. Like, where the fuck is my equipment? I don't know. It seems like they must be doing well. you know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I said.
That's something that brings me back. Like at first when we were discussing stuff, the employee rights and shit. Like, if you're growing fast, like you can ignore many things, man.
that was my point when I started to say that.
Like the small things don't really bother you.
That's remotely small part compared to some other things that are ongoing in such a large company.
There are higher priorities for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. This is very interesting. Like, I want to say a few more things about. Like, I want to stay on this topic because taxes are very interesting, especially I always thought that, Georgia has this kind of edge over other countries in terms of, it's easy here to avoid a few taxes. Also, it's easy to start a business. Like, in your experience, because you have businesses here, you have businesses there, what's the biggest difference, biggest challenges? Like, how would you compare this to? Like, obviously, you can make more money in the UK because the market is bigger, English-speaking market, huge network. But is the bureaucracy tougher? Would you say?
I think there's like downsides and positive sides of both countries, right? In the UK, just like you said, you're working with a bigger target, right? In Georgia, there's about 4 million people that live here.
You can make a few bucks.
You can make a few bucks, right? But labor here is very cheap. Price for rent for property is very cheaper than it is in the UK, and taxes don't push you. There's certain tax reliefs here, especially if you're, like an expat or something like that, and you're working over here. There's certain tax reliefs. In the UK, you pretty much get tax for breathing air, right? There's taxes that you can't really imagine. Some of these taxes don't even make sense, right? Of why you're paying this, right? You have to pay for tax for inheritance, for example, right? Inheritance tax never make sense to me. So your grandparents basically worked hard all their life so they can.
Oh, is that tax? I didn't know about.
There is an inheritance tax in the UK.
You cannot even leave your stuff to your grandchildren without.
And how much do you need to pay for that?
A lot.
I mean, they left their property to you, and you need to pay what?
Yeah, there's taxes for everything. I mean, in Georgia, for example, you get property tax, right?
Which is like 2%.
Yeah, 2%, right? Which is very, very low. And then if you purchase your second property, I think it goes up slightly. In the UK, there's certain taxes and duties like tax duty, the stamp duty. You've heard about that, right? So if you purchase,
don't remember which one is that.
Stamp duty is if you're purchasing your second property, you have to pay. You have to pay a fee for purchasing that second property, which is quite a lot. Like, for example, it might be like 10 to 20k if you're buying a second house, right? Which is, it's like you're buying a second house. It's a big push, right? When you purchasing property, and then the government is basically coming saying, "Hey, you're buying a second one now. I'm going to tax you on that. You're going to give me money for it." It's like they don't really give you the sort of breathing space,
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing about the UK. There's opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity, and most businesses are successful in Georgia and in UK, but it's hard to sort of make it with these sort of regulations, taxes, and things like that.
Whereas you need way more starting capital in the UK. Like that was the big thing. Like I had many good ideas when I was there. I was as a foreigner, like you catch some stuff, right? Like you feel like, okay, this market will basically buy anything if you sell it right.
Yeah.
But when I first started jumping into this, taxes and how difficult it is to, I don't know. I mean, man, it's just. I figured out that I would need. I would just need to pay so much money just for consultation services or something, just for me to understand what am I supposed to pay and how am I supposed to pay less taxes. So that's a big thing. In Georgia, you can just register business and you can get going. Like the accounting service is going to call you. Okay, this is what you need to do. Okay, pay me like $100 a month and I will take care of this shit. And you just focus on strategic missions and stuff. You just grow your business. I'm going to take care of the taxes. So it's that easy, like that's the big thing. Another problem is that, the market is not big, but it's still easier, right?
Yeah. So as in sort of as the business side of things, I mean, they're like you said, in Georgia, there's quite a, lot to offer to Georgia. There's not a lot of things in Georgia that the UK has, right? So there's ideas that you can bring to here. Although there are certain things in Georgia that the UK doesn't have, which I was quite surprised with, because the main thing when I moved back here was I found it hard to adapt, because certain sort of luxuries which you had in the UK, for example, Amazon, right? You need I don't know, like
the same day.
That's what he was mentioning as well. Yeah,
that was the big thing I struggled with, because with
I'd say shopping in general.
Shopping, yeah. Because you need a basic thing at home. You just go on the Amazon, you get it on the same day or the next day, right?
Here
it's
2
like
weeks.
You may need to just go to Ilia for like I don't know, whole day. So it's
that is huge
what about
comfort.
Temu,
Huge comfort.
bro? Like they're taking over.
Temu takes about 24 days to get here. That's the bad thing about Temu. Yeah. But there's things that are coming in. But the other day somebody recommended an app. I needed something doing on one of my rental properties, right? So the tenant contacted me. Something had happened with plumbing. So, finding handyman and things like that. And there's an application. It was fantastic. I went on the app. I put my address in.
Should we advertise those guys?
Profi.
I know those.
It's so cheap. He went there, did the job. I wasn't even at the house. He just called me.
Do they work that efficiently? I had my suspicion.
I used it twice, and both times cheap, fast. You choose your times on there.
Cheap.
That stuff doesn't exist in the UK. Well, I don't know if it does now, but
cheap in your understanding, or
it's very
cheap.
cheap. It's cheap.
Okay.
Like for example, something happened, with the sink where it was like the water wasn't coming. It's about 45 lari for him to go there, repair it. Didn't need anything like materials to do it, which is cheap.
I was gonna say like the kind of the opposite of that. First of all, I didn't know that Profi was working so nicely. I had my doubts, like I said, because there are like many Georgian startups that just have this huge advertising and then, you actually use their services and it sucks.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to hear that they work so well.
You're just non-believer. You just don't believe.
Well, I don't know with like big things, but simple things that you need doing in the house, which may take.
Like I was looking for an electrician for a while, and like I still didn't go with the Profi.
Well, I wouldn't get an electrician from Profi.
Electrician
is, it can be dangerous. So,
exactly.
With little things, I think the main thing here is time, right?
Yeah.
This type of things will take you 3 hours. I could have done that myself, right? But I would have to, be stuck in traffic.
It's a certain type of comfort, right?
It's comfort.
Yeah, that's very.
What I was gonna say in the UK, like I'd say it really depends on where you live. Like you mean like you talk from the perspective of like if you own the house and you have to do that stuff by yourself. Like if you're in the residential area, like if you're renting, like they usually provide those services. And I was I was actually gonna say that, you know, in the UK, how easy it was to just get my receptionist, I don't know, notified, and somebody would just come over and they would fix anything.
Yeah. Well, you lived in a student place, didn't you?
No, actually, no. I was in the Ancoats, you know that.
I remember. Yes.
You helped me move my stuff there.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I remember that place. Well, yeah.
Bro, Ancoats was, by the way, like probably the nicest area in the whole fucking Manchester.
Nice.
It's
nice.
amazing.
Yeah, it's very central. You've got everything around you.
Yeah, the general vibe was amazing. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I missed certain things in my time in the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, Ancoats was cool. The whole northern quarter was amazing as well. The nightlife was really cool. It's just, I mean, like the everyday life there gets fucking exhausting. Like always bad weather, always these problems to think about. The pace is high.
I think that's the difference between sort of life in Georgia and life in the UK. Right? Both of them have their, you know, downsides, of course. But you've just got to, with me, I think when I lived in the UK, at the time that I lived in the UK, when I was a student, when I was, you know, in my early 20s, it's great, right? When you're a student, you've got nothing to worry about. Yeah. You're getting good education for a starter, and you know.
And you're living on student loan.
You're living on a student loan, which, you know, very little, you know. Not many countries have loans that they have in the UK. With student loans, the government, you know, help you as much as they can. Not only student loan, you know, in the UK, you can actually get a loan for not just your studies, but for your spend whilst you're studying, for your food, for your accommodation, things like that. And these things, it's all provided by the government. There's never a push to pay these things back, right?
Yeah.
There's never like, it doesn't feel like a loan. That's the good thing about it, because when you leave university, you're not entitled to pay it back straight away. Only when you've got a job that is earning, I think it's about over 25k or something like that.
Yeah, then
so it doesn't feel like a loan.
Really good rule. Yeah.
It's fantastic because
everybody has stuff in the UK.
Everybody
also,
has a chance at education, you know, even if you're fortunate or less fortunate, everybody has a chance of education, and I think that's what I respect about the UK, right? Everybody has that chance. Whereas, but you know, in I don't know what, you know, in Georgia.
In post-Soviet countries, obviously that is not possible, at least yet.
At least yet, yeah, of course. So,
I mean, that's one thing, and another thing is like, even if you get that cheap education, like the quality and the level is not the same.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. With a British degree, you've got to understand. I don't generally think that in the UK you are getting taught something that you may not be getting taught here. I don't generally think that.
Yeah,
right?
That goes for everything nowadays. Like you can learn anything.
But the power of your degree, right? When you go to your job interview and you got a degree from the UK, I mean, it speaks.
I think that used to be the case. Like that was like one of the biggest things that I went in the UK. You know, I mean, I don't want to say anything bad, but. It certainly works in certain Asian countries, like Indonesia, for example. Yeah. We had like, I don't know, 20% of our cohort was Indonesian. Another 30% from India. Like in those countries, it does work. I don't think it
has an
works.
Influence, yes.
No, what I mean is it doesn't really work in Europe, mate. I mean, that's the problem. Like even in the UK, like, okay, I'm this guy with the MBA from top 4 UK universities. Yeah. Like it's recognized. It's not like you have a network. Like you'll learn a lot. Like I mean, you'll find your way, but it's not like, you know, it's not Harvard.
In Europe, it's a different story. Yeah.
In Europe, they don't even care, to be honest. No. Like in Europe, it's completely different work culture. To be Germans, Netherlands, like those countries that actually have the more or less good job markets, they don't really care if you come from the UK degree or if you have any sort of degrees. Like they only care about the actual experience. Like, and they're gonna tell you, they're gonna ask your previous boss to provide the recommendation letter and stuff like that. And it's more about that. But I see your point. Like it does work in certain parts of the world for sure. Yeah,
exactly. So. I mean, in Europe generally, it's just like you said, it's different. I mean, the education in Europe is pretty good themselves. They generally don't like Brits anyway. Like,
that's very true.
They have a bad reputation.
Who likes Brits? Like, let's be honest. Like, who likes Brits in the world? Like,
I mean, they have
There are a few countries that like everybody in the world kind of, not to say hate, but they're not big fan of those.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
I'd say
Brits-
France is probably the most hated one, but
yeah.
UK is not far away.
think
Russians. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
obviously top
The
one
obvious one,
contender. They always win.
the big elephant in the room. Yeah,
And Americans are somewhere close there.
yeah. I think the Brits sort of they have a bad reputation in a few things when it comes to like football fans and things like that. When it comes to like British holiday makers, they have a very bad reputation, right? Like Spain has actually recently put I think some sort of ban on receiving so many tourists because it's
in Barcelona.
Places like in Alicante, for example, you can be walking down the street and there's nothing Alicante about the place, right? It's a British breakfast, it's a British pub, it doesn't feel like it's so. I think this is what I never understand about British people, which it's not about all British people, of course.
Yeah.
It's like when they go to a different country, you want to. For me, for example, I like to experience other cultures, and when I go there, I like to try new things. These
That's
guys
so
like to
right.
eat British. They like to eat English breakfast every day.
Yeah, just get out of your.
It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
It's not for all of them, of course, but
You want to hear my opinion? Like, I think all previously, I'm not trying to be a dickhead here. It's just all of these imperialistic countries, like at least previously, UK is probably the least guilty of that. But the Russians and even Americans, like they're not trying to. They're not trying to understand the culture, whatever they're going. They're just trying to spread their shit. It's just, come on.
You made a good point there.
Why are you even traveling?
Yeah. You made a good point there because I think that's where it all comes from, right? Because Brits, small island, they conquered the world. Let's face it, right?
I mean,
and that kind of thing,
some point,
it sticks.
It
with
was
you,
the
right?
biggest fucking empire in the history.
It is. I mean, we're going down to Australia and India, right? We're a complete other side of the world. So
how did they even fucking manage?
So I think these things, they sort of stick with the general culture and how the mindset works, right? Because they, that's, for example, Russians. When you see Russian tourists, they think that everything evolves around them, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the same mindset that
exactly, like they think they're the most, the main character syndrome, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. In Georgia, I think the main thing is that when we sort of receive British tourists here. When we've got there is immigration in Georgia, of course, more and more I'm seeing at the moment actually, and although in the UK, you get immigrants coming in and they're sort of making the country their own, right? They're not really adapting to to the culture. They're not really receiving.
That's a big one.
Some of them don't even speak the language, right? I was an immigrant myself, so I can openly speak about stuff like that. But whereas in Georgia, when people are coming here, you will never see somebody in Georgia acting like they own this country or they're from this country. They are the visitors.
Oh, yeah, you will some of the maybe Russians.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, but
I think they try
there's probably
to.
better
They will
respect
try
then.
to, but I don't think any Georgian person would ever let a Russian person, act like this is their own country.
Yeah,
Whereas in the UK,
mean,
it's a completely
we can
different
agree on
story.
that.
Which, I understand the whole situation at the moment in the UK in regards to, of course, the immigration, and there's a big, uprising, and there was a lot of protests recently, and I get the Brits, right? It's if somebody came into my country and they flooded the country, with just like it is getting flooded at the moment, and they're acting almost like you are the visitor, like they're making you feel like the outsider. Then that's when it becomes a bit of personal, which you know. And we've got to understand the quality of immigrants, right? Immigration is, I think immigration is about, of course, asylum seekers that are escaping war, but when it's boats full of men that are within the age of 20 to 30 years old, it just doesn't really make sense, right?
Right.
I mean, so many good points. And the problem with this type of immigration is that, they left their country for a reason in the first place, right? That they went in the UK for a better life, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to make that country the same
As
country that you left,
absolutely,
what's
it
the
doesn't
point?
make
Like, it's exactly, just the logic is not there to begin with. So what it really looks like is that you're trying to invade this country, and you're just trying to spread your wings and be on this other. I don't even know, but man, I mean, I've seen some parts of that while I was living in the UK. But again, I blame the Englishmen themselves.
At the end of the day, they are to blame, right? The government's to blame.
And they're getting what they want, basically. I mean, what was the deal with Brexit to begin with? You know,
To what?
Brexit.
yeah.
So the idea of the Brexit was that they were bothered by the immigration. Like that was the official statement from most voters that voted for Brexit. And that immigration was coming mostly from Eastern Europe, like Ukraine, Russians. You know, okay, I get that. Maybe you don't want them, but then you do this Brexit, you're out of European Union. I mean, maybe not from Ukraine and Russians, but like, you know, in the eastern part of the Europe, they were getting like a lot of
Polish.
So obviously they didn't like them very much.
Yeah.
Now they did that, and then the whole Asia is there. You know.
Yeah. Now you're receiving, you know, different parts of the world. So I think.
So what's changed? Like, you prefer different type of immigration in your country?
I think necessarily it's got worse, because now you're receiving the wrong type of immigration. Because I mean, I agree with you know,
crime level is high.
Crime level is high, yeah, of course. And I mean, when you look at it in a sense, like in the UK, it's such a diverse country. You know, your doctor will be an Indian or a Pakistani, and you know, when you go down to the pharmacy, it might be a Polish, and you'll also get a British nurse or whatever like that. So it's a very diverse country, which I appreciate that. There's nothing bad about when you are contributing to the country, right?
Yeah, completely.
But when you're going to that country for the means to abuse the system, to get free education, free healthcare, free benefits, and do nothing for that country, and also commit crime.
Yeah,
that's when, you know, it's getting a bit over the top.
Yeah, we had an American guest like not that long ago, and he had very similar points to yours. You know, if you're coming to the country, just contribute somehow, like. You're coming here for a reason.
I think that is a must to do.
Yes, but the only reason we're talking about this is that it's not happening in the reality. Like
yeah, well, they're talking about this Nigel Farage coming in, and he's the man to put the stop to all this. He's supposed to be the Donald Trump of the UK. Well, we will have to see. He's getting.
Is he already selected? Or?
No, he's the. Supposedly the next one.
Yeah, I mean, the right-wing movement all around Western Europe is kind of a big thing right now, because I think they're getting exhausted. But I mean, I don't like them either. Like that's the problem. Like that side is also bad. Like I didn't know. I don't want to get too political right now, but what I mean is like extremism on both sides is horrible. And we've been discussing before we started podcast that, okay, so Instagram right now is, you can say whatever you want. It's allowed, like it's a free speech platform basically.
Yeah.
And since that happened, like we remember the times that you couldn't say anything. And now like so many racists, so many homophobic people, so many sexists, like they started to show their real colors, right? Before, like there were this leftist extremists that were bugging us. Now it's on the both sides. It's like
there's no sort of middle
ground. They live in their bubbles. It's not like they're arguing or something. It's just they are everywhere and they don't listen to each other. So how do you fix that? I don't even know, honestly. Like
you don't fix
my
that.
Algorithm works perfectly, to be honest. Like I look at the both sides. Like I hate everyone. It's not. I don't have any specific area.
Yeah, because they are spying on you. They are spying. Okay, jokes aside, this brings us, I guess, to some sort of identity crisis as well. Because I want to ask you, Ilia, how do you feel yourself? Are you feeling more like a British person or a Georgian, since you went to UK when you were 9 and most of your adult life you lived there, but now you are still here? And just how do you feel yourself about this part?
Well, it's hard to say really with my situation. So I never felt like a British person in the UK. Although some people could not really tell me apart from a British person, right, in the UK. You know, most people thought I was British until they heard my name, of course. But, you know, when it comes to moving back to Georgia, because I'd been away from Georgia for such a long time, and plus, at the same time, you know, I sort of grew up there. Although I was in a Georgian household, my mindset was British, right? I knew, you know, socializing it was in British, you know, everything that I knew was British, right? Georgia was just a place that I'd visit once or twice a year, although it was my country and I knew a lot about it. So coming back here, it took me quite a long time to sort of adapt, right? Socially adapt. I mean, you know, as you know, Loan, in the UK, it's completely different socially. Social life is different in the UK. People have different jokes. Certain jokes are accepted in the UK that are not accepted here.
You made a good point, by the way.
And not
about,
only that, but I mean, you might think of a really good joke on Georgian language, which you would not be able to say it and translate.
Yeah, and there was language.
Don't even get me started on the stand-up comedy in the UK, which I find hilarious and I love it. If you could translate that kind of shit in Georgia, I mean, you might get murdered in the same day. Like, I've seen people, I wouldn't classify it as a bullying, but like the comedian, when he's so offensive in a way, like, you know, even the guy with his girlfriend, and, you know, in Georgian language, like you have the limits, like you can't say a certain type of shit, you know. And I was witnessing that, you know, I was kind of uncomfortable laughing at those, you know.
I don't think you were uncomfortable. I mean, we were still raised on that TV shows and movies and stuff like that, which come from not from our country, and
I mean,
and we love that.
We love, you know, you and I, we love that kind of stuff. But again, like if you translate that in Georgian, or if you hear that in Georgian, it sounds.
You should never do that. You should never. You should never
I don't know, man. It's like
jokes can't. I always think jokes cannot be translated.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
and you know what else cannot be translated? Like, you know, dirty talk with women. Like somebody made a good joke. You know. If you speak in English and if you make this dirty talk, it's hot. But like not let's say not in English, in your non-native language. Yeah. But if you talk in your native language, it sounds disgusting.
It truly is.
It's such a turn off, man. I mean,
exactly. You should never even try that.
No, I don't. I wouldn't suggest it. Yeah. Especially in Georgian, it sounds very aggressive, right?
It's kind of
not only aggressive, it does not make any sense.
It sounds more like an you know, more like an insult than
yes, exactly. But yeah, like I was saying. You know, it did take a little bit of time to adapt. I am still adapting. There was a lot of things that when I came here, I was not.
Which was 2.5 years you've been here.
I've been here for 2.5 years now. Yeah. So since then, a lot has happened. Like I've, you know, set up a new business. I carried on with the business with the family business that we have here as well. I've got 2 jobs. Apart from that, I got a new job recently. I got married. I'm expecting a child in a couple of days.
We went the other way in the beginning, but those were the topics that we actually had to discuss.
So you know, a lot has happened in these 2 years, right? So I think because I sort of. There's a saying in the UK, you're chucking yourself in a deep end, right? So I chucked myself straight into the deep end. And I think that's the type of person that I am, where, you know, if I do things slowly, I may never achieve anything. But if I start and just straight away I'm in there, and, you know, I've moved to a different country and I had no plan really. So, and then, you know, everything worked out just how I wanted to be, wanted it to be. So that's the good thing, because I don't know whether it is because I was from this country and sort of I knew certain people in this country, or that I had a bit of support here. But
I mean, the thing about us Georgians, like, we admire people who lived somewhere else, they tried it, but they kept their kind of nationality, identity, the culture, and they come back and they appreciate here. Like we do respect that, honestly. Like that goes massive.
I mean, why would someone not
I'd
respect
say
that?
especially Georgians, because we are so small. Like we do appreciate that, you know, because a lot of people just leave the country and they. Obviously, they had their reasons. You know, I'm not judging anyone. It's just, but you know, a lot of people just leave the country and they talk shit, and you know, it's like, I had to leave.
Yeah, I mean, that's immediate plus points for you if you did.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
When I first moved here, for example, a lot of people were saying to me like, "Why did you move back?" Or "How can I go to the UK?" And is it good?
They don't know, man. We do.
Yeah, the UK. When you go to the UK, there's nothing special about it, right? You do get opportunities, but if you're nothing in this country, you're going to be nothing there. Right?
I mean, that is such a good line.
I think that's like a
really,
clip farming
that's
kind
exactly
of
what I wanted to say. I mean,
if you think of it this way, in your own country where you speak the language, you know people, you have connections. If you can't do anything in your own country, you're not going to be doing anything in a country where nobody knows.
Level of
such a good one-liner for sure. I mean,
there is an old Georgian.
You'll be stupid everywhere.
Yeah.
There's an old Georgian animation movie which I'm making my kid watch all the time. It's about when the mouse is trying to become, when the mouse finds the wizard and asks, I'm afraid of this cat, so I want to be a dog, and then he makes her.
But mentally, he's still mouse.
And then anytime he faces the cat, he's still afraid. If you're shit here, you're gonna be shit
That's good
there.
analogy. That's good analogy.
It is, yeah. So that's what I sort of. I knew that coming back here, I'd be able to, at the very bare minimum, be able to do the same that I did in the UK. But in reality, I did more here than I did in the UK, right? Because here, I think coming back, it's opened my eyes to the rest of the world as well. That no matter where you are in the world, if you work hard, if you've got a plan, if you've got a bit of just general mindset about certain things, and you're into an industry, or you're willing to explore, right? That's the thing about my career in general in my life. I've never stuck to one career. If it's not making me money, or if it's not making me happy, I will completely change to completely something different, because there's nothing stopping you in life to you can learn anything in this life, right? You today especially you can be a mechanic, and you can be a doctor or a surgeon next year, right? So I think that's the thing where I don't generally in life, I've never kept my eggs in one basket, right? I've always had other options, and I've always had backup plans. That's why I work like 4 jobs.
I was gonna say that's a very Georgian thing of you, to be honest, because we're mostly like that. Like we call it vela perchiki.
Yes, exactly.
No, look, what I think
versatile
is that,
kind of guy, right? I mean,
the ability that you could change whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. It's not in our mentality, Georgian mentality, but for some reason your family was doing that quite good. I mean, because I don't know what was the reason, but you moved to the UK while you were like quite young. Your father had like businesses there, so that point of view that you could do whatever you want, and plus you dropped out from some things, you left one job, you started whatever you wanted, but your father always cheered for that, right? I mean, that's how I understood. So that is not really that traditional to Georgians. I mean, here we have stuff that you need to do this. Okay, please don't leave it. Maybe you're still close to achieving something. But
well, generally, I'll tell you one thing. You made a good point there. Well, with my father's always sort of tried to keep us in the family business.
I think your dad has actually a very progressive mindset.
Yeah, we need to ask him to come here.
Considering everything, to be honest. I don't know if I told you, but his dad is my father's. They went to the same school.
I didn't know that.
That's how they know each other. And just compare like how different they are, like in terms of their lifestyle. My father stick to Georgia. Like his whole identity is tied to Georgian. and he decided to move abroad when there was no concept of moving abroad. Basically,
yes,
like that's
that was
thing.
like, I mean,
I think he made pretty bold decisions back in the day, and it worked out
there was
pretty
kind
well.
of dark times, to go ahead and take that ballsy move and just go abroad with your family.
When I look back at it now, I mean, I think when he moved over there, he was about 30, about my age, and he had 4 kids. So
imagine the family and 4 kids moving. And at first, I remember he mentioned you guys moved in London, and then you realized that it was too expensive, and that's when you moved to Huddersfield.
We initially moved to London. So as I was like sort of looking at it in that perspective, putting myself into his shoes now. I don't even have a child.
Really hard decision.
I couldn't. If I had 4 kids right now at my age, last thing I'd be doing is moving to a different country. It's almost crazy to me. So
I don't even have children.
You gotta consider circumstances, though.
Look, I mean, even imaginary, I can't do that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure to do something back in the days.
It was, If he did it, it would work out. So it's one of those things. So where I was always brought up, sort of to, there was 3 boys, so me and my 2 brothers. So we were all sort of involved in the family business, and my dad has never been sort of like, you've got to stick at this, right? You've got to be in the family. But if you had other interests that you wanted to explore, I was always, without a problem, I was able to go out.
So it never was like you need to be a doctor or you need to be a lawyer.
No, like, I did something, art school, which is not necessarily something that is anybody ever says go to art school.
His dad is very progressive mind. I mean, considering where he grew up, like that. That's the fascinating, quality that your dad has.
Yeah.
Back in the days, I mean, obviously, they're like.
There was rare mindset, at least at that times. Even today, but at that times, that was really rare for Georgian.
It was.
Like you really shouldn't feel the pressure from the society, and you really should be, able to not think, kind of resist this. I don't know, social anxiety, and whoever thinks about you. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And then in the beginning, we were talking about, in this podcast area, like. Biggest takeaway for me since we started doing this stuff, is that you realize how even though people listen to you, people watch your content, like they don't really care about you as a person. Like most people will care about what you're saying, what you're talking about. So that's kind of helps your self-awareness. Like you understand that world doesn't revolve around you. You're not that important. People don't care for you. They just enjoy what you do, and what you do is what you are, basically. That's what I'm saying. So it's an interesting stuff. Like nowadays, you gotta have digital presence. Exactly. That's my idea of modern world. So
I think generally, if you're not adapting, you're just getting stuck in one place. So that's the thing. I think when. People say that, how did you manage to move abroad? And sort of, I'm literally doing the same thing that I was doing over there to here. As long as you're adapting, there is, remote jobs, thankfully, nowadays where you can go to any country and work remotely. And, as long as, I think the common sort of misconception here was that there's not really good paid roles, right? Good well paid jobs in Georgia, but there's tools that you can use that will get you a very good corporate job with as long as you are switched on, as long as you are willing, and my simple
lock in, right?
I made a simple sort of LinkedIn inquiry. Got in touch with a couple of actually foreign sort of agents, which sort of they got me a job in Georgia, which it was quite easy. There wasn't right much involved, which I actually found the job here much easier than I found it in the UK, which was great.
I mean,
a well-paid job.
That's also a good takeaway.
And even before you said that, I was gonna tell you that so. I actually agree that you can find a decent job here in Georgia if you're trying and if you're hardworking and if you're willing to, develop. The problem is we're naturally not that many Georgians who are trying to, make it.
Yeah.
and it's not like you go to the UK and you can make it without all of these things that we mentioned. You know, you need to hustle there exactly as much, if not more.
If not more, yeah.
I mean, you're competing with thousands of Indians and people that are coming from. No, I mean, I'm not in a bad context. You know what I mean? Like, they're also living their country for better life. So imagine,
they're trying very hard.
And your lazy ass going to the UK.
I understand.
I mean, you might be more creative, bro, but like everybody has AI, so it's not even that valuable nowadays.
Yeah,
true.
And I can tell you that they will go above and beyond. Like they will work harder.
Yeah.
Smarter, saying something. The only kind of edge we have as Georgians
is the eye color.
No, that's not even Georgian eye color, to be honest. Anyways, like my point is like the only edge you actually have over internationals, and it's not even that much. Like we as a society, we tend to be more risk takers for one, and another one would be you're naturally able to think outside the box because there were no rules when you were growing up here. Like you basically grew up in the Wild West, the lawless fucking ghetto. That's the only edge you have, while still having the traditions and ancient history. And you know, they teach you these real values in the childhood, and then you grow up and you see the reality is different, and everybody's breaking the law, and everybody's trying to, I don't know. It's like if I can get this quote, like you make your own reality. Like you have the options to kind of not play by the rules, and you still consider that you have the ability to set the rules by yourself. Okay. Like that would be probably, like, maybe I'm kind of romanticizing a little bit my nationality, but that's something I'm seeing unique in you know, our culture.
No, I understand. I understand that.
Yeah. I've met a lot of people while living there. Obviously, like that was one of my goals. Like I wanted to be in a diverse environment, getting to know more cultures, their mindset, like what they're after. And it seems like, you know, people, regardless of their nationalities, like we're all the same. You know, it's we do have our differences, cultural differences mostly, but like what it really comes down is like the level of intelligence, like same IQ people end up together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where you come from.
Yeah. I mean, that's you know, that's the thing about Georgia. When I moved back here and sort of started, you know, within the, you know, started picking up my work life over here, I found that Georgian people actually have a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of clever people here. The younger people that I've met recently, you know, they're some of the things that the ideas that they come up with and things like that are, you know, mind-blowing. Very, very clever people. A lot of opportunities in Georgia, as long as you are willing to pursue these opportunities and do something about it. You know, everybody has
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part, yeah. And, of course, there is not as much support in Georgia for you to pursue your career, and you know, I'm talking, you know, with the government and things like that. For young people, I think it's hard, especially if you don't have financial backing. But there is a lot of people that do make it, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that. Yeah,
I mean, we're making a lot of good points, you know, in terms of comparison between the UK work life careers and Georgian work life career.
Sport is becoming a very big thing here.
Yeah,
like,
finally.
Finally, it's amazing. Like I think
I think that's because of some of the individual successes we had, you know, in the UFC, like two dominant champions in the fucking from 3 million country. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I mean, sport always was a big deal.
We had
here,
some
but
success in football.
Now we are doing
becoming
very good,
known for worldwide.
When I moved to the UK, nobody knew where Georgia was. So I think sport
in Liverpool, everybody knew Kvaratskhelia because fucking tormented Trent.
Yeah, and now
Yes,
for example,
yes.
in France now they love Georgians.
Yeah.
I mean, if
we
you
have
say
this,
that
you
you're
know,
Georgian, that everyone loves you.
Yeah.
So it's a
Few
good place to move
geniuses
into
that
France
make-
if you want to
Yeah.
right
that-
now.
I mean, yes, the sport is putting us on the map. That's nice to see that,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
And not only that, it's also nice to see because I went to, I visited a couple of these like sports centers recently with a couple of my friends. We're doing a bit of filming, and it's nice to see how much this, you know, success of other people within, you know, whether it's UFC or whether it's in rugby or whatever, football,
Yeah.
right? It's encouraging so many people to,
Yeah.
to some of these
Yes.
kids that you
it's
see that
huge.
they're always on the football field, they're always in the rugby field, and they're always in the gym working out and trying to do something, because it's nice to see that there is, you know, examples in our society that
Yeah, it
drives
helps you
the younger
visualize your
generation. Yes.
future in a
Yes,
way.
I think
yeah.
today I was just driving with the taxi, and in the radio I heard Ilia quote, and he was saying like follow your dreams and stuff like that. In Georgian,
Bro,
but
actually,
I don't
think
know.
the Ilia is a huge like.
Oh, he's
the reason why he's so huge is like his mindset is really something. Like he's coming up with this groundbreaking quotes. Like,
Yeah,
have you seen
yeah.
his Joe Rogan podcast? Like,
I
when
did
he was
watch
there?
it. Yes, it was quite
Yeah,
good.
bro. I mean, he's dropping some one-liners, you know, and it doesn't even feel unnatural. Like
Yeah.
he's that guy, you know. Like he
very
gives the
clever guy.
vibes of Mike Tyson back in
Yes,
his days,
yes,
like
yes.
somebody who is really willing to.
Yes, it's nice to
I
see.
mean, it kind of
things like that.
inspires you, right?
yeah, true.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like first, Kvaratskhelia had so much success in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then he kind of opened this path for younger Georgians, and now everybody wants to be Kvara.
Yeah.
And it just makes life easier. Like, you know, this sport might not be the most sophisticated thing to be known for, but that opens the door for you know, internationals to learn more about Georgia. Let's say, you know, like somebody realized that okay, where's this guy from? He plays so well. Okay, there's the small place between Europe and Asia.
Yeah,
and
let's
they
go.
have
Let's go
Russia
make
above
business
that.
there in Georgia. It's
What
easy.
they do, and then they realize that okay, they Google it, and it's an ancient country. You know, so
Yeah.
they actually invented the wine. You know,
Yeah.
there are many. You know, I mean, it's like what we're trying to do most of the times. We're trying to attract even a wider audience with
Yeah, I mean,
provocative statements.
This is also country. They have like modern 9 to 5 podcast. I mean, did you watch
Oh,
that?
do they speak different languages? The fuck is up with that? I mean,
Yes, yeah.
that's how it works.
But it's nice because some of the things that sort of I experienced in the UK, like, you know, your Saturday morning football games when you walk into the stadium and things like that. When I moved here, I thought I would never experience things like that again because I was, you know, I wouldn't say I was a diehard fan, but
Yeah.
you know, I used to go to the football games and I thought I'm never going to experience that again. But you know, when we had a bit of success, you know,
in the
between
Euros,
the
that
Euros,
was amazing.
and I was
Oh,
walking to the
yes.
Dinamo Stadium with all the fans. I got that feeling, you know. I got
that was
that like
amazing.
it was good feeling,
Of
just
course,
like I had
it was
before.
lifetime
Yeah,
feeling.
That was a
I mean,
historical moment.
yes, that was
for sure.
lifetime.
it was
feeling.
fantastic. Yeah, it was very good. It was a time where I'm glad I was here for that time because it was a time where everybody was happy.
Yeah.
It was before all this shit was going on in the country.
exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm always saying to Levan. I mean, if football is on top,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter which country you are, whether you're rich, poor, everyone is happy.
I think
Exactly.
If football is okay,
kind of-
everyone is okay.
exactly,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Football is kind of manifestation of the society doing well. And you know, like if the country is doing well in football, most likely that country is doing well. You know,
Still, everyone
it's
will
kind
be
of
happy.
it translates to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big
Yeah.
thing. And in terms, like since we're talking about the football, bro, living in Manchester, if you're a football fan,
Yeah,
even though I'm an AC Milan fan,
Yeah.
whole my life, like I go back. It was amazing, you know, these two Manchester teams, and actually the Man City was like those fans had to go through my area whenever they were going to the stadium. It was amazing, and they were winning, back to back Premier Leagues
that
all
culture
the time.
is amazing.
And they're screaming at each other. Then the United fans and the Man City fans.
So that's
the vibe could be felt, and sometimes this echo would kind of shake the buildings also, but really like you would feel the vibration, and like you as a Georgian, you probably haven't experienced that, we mostly experience that when people abusing each other and kind of fighting or something. But now there are like plenty of people screaming, and the chants were amazing.
So that's the type of things that when you say, most people ask me like, do you miss the UK? There are certain things that I do miss. There are a lot of things that I miss. Like I miss the like the football games on a Saturday, and I miss the for example, I don't know, going down to the pub for a pint, and I miss the Christmas. The Christmas in UK is fantastic. I don't think anybody
the Christmas markets there.
I don't think anybody does
amazing,
Christmas as good as they do it in the UK. Even the Yanks don't do it as good as that, right? Christmas in the UK is like magical. Right? We don't really
Like, is it better than in the New York? Because the New York
that's what I was
Christmas.
gonna say, like,
New York
we've
is-
never.
yeah.
Have you been there on the Christmas?
I have been to New York, but not around Christmas. But New York, it's a different story, I guess.
I've never even been to
I think that's
London
because of-
Christmas, but even in Manchester, the Christmas markets were amazing. Like I love that time of the year.
I'm not talking about sort of the general feel of Christmas and what it looks like outside. I'm talking about the cultural side of Christmas. So like your family time at Christmas, going down to the pub. They don't have pubs in New York, man. Not proper pubs, right? The best thing about Christmas, I'll tell you the best thing about Christmas. Before you have your Christmas dinner, you go down with the family. You walk to the pub, right, the local pub, and you have that one nice pint, and that's the best thing about Christmas.
That's a unique takeaway.
Yeah, and then you come home and you're having your Christmas dinner. You're drinking all day. It's cold outside, mostly snowy, and everything is magical. It's not about New York, and it's not about the fancy lights. It's about the feeling of Christmas, right? It's about the as let's say the Christmas spirit, right?
Yeah, right.
And I think that's what I think that's what I've lacked here a little bit. Maybe because I don't have family over here, and I'm just me and my wife. New
I
Year
think
is
that's
big
the
here.
big one, honestly. Like you said, Christmas is all about Christmas, New Year. We mostly celebrate New Year. It's more about family. You get together, and then the guests come over. Probably that's what you're lacking. But you'll get there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I actually went out today and got a Christmas tree. When I get home, I've got that to sort out.
Yeah, I mean, we will do the Christmas special, right? As an episode.
I really hope so.
So there's little things, right, in the UK that I miss. I miss the frosty mornings when you get outside and it's you're going for a walk on a Saturday, and even if it's the say after a hangover of you've been out to the clubs and you're going for an English breakfast, that's a fantastic feeling as well with your mates. I miss that. I think I'll never get that back because I'm 31 now. We don't go to clubs anymore. We're not Gen Zers, but these things, these memories, they do come back, and sometimes I miss that.
I mean, I completely agree. There were some amazing highlights, especially like I told you, I was living in the area, which was probably the best area in the whole Manchester, the northern quarter, and coast. Like, I would just walk for 10 minutes and I would get like the stand-up comedy club on my left, 10 pubs on my right, then the other side would be the vintage shops. And then I would just go walk another 15 minutes and huge malls and decorations, like diverse people. And then there were some nice techno clubs also, which we like. As Georgians, we love techno. So
that's a good thing about Manchester. Manchester, I think, has its own sort of culture. Where you don't get you don't get that.
No,
in London.
nightlife there is sick, man. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's kind of underappreciated in terms of nightlife. But it's overrated in terms of general life. Bro, I mean, the everyday life was just, we talked about, you mentioned that, there were a lot of immigrants working in the NHS and stuff, and they were amazing. Like, in terms of service, like, the service was way like it's not even a comparison. Service level is huge.
That's one thing
in
I
every
can't-
sector.
yeah.
It's just it's not very accessible. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like you need to wait for 2 months, then you go
Yeah.
there. It's
But yeah, I guess
very
with the
slow.
NHS, it's you know, it's free. That's why, right? You can get like private healthcare, which it's instant. You go in just like you do
yeah,
here. Right?
but then you need to be working.
Yeah, it's
I
just a
mean,
lot of
you
money,
shouldn't be
yeah.
a student.
Yeah. So here it's you know there's no private healthcare, right? So you know, sort of like the NHS, like government is funded and
Yeah,
things like
but
that.
it's kind of easy. I mean, it's not even a comparison. Like few connections, you get there. I mean, you'll find it as a foreigner if you go there and live in the
Yeah.
UK. I mean, maybe my experience was kind of unique because I wasn't, let's say, Indian or from the countries who have like a lot of huge network there.
Yeah.
Like, what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, no, of course.
The only
yeah.
guy I knew in Britain was you.
Yeah.
and you weren't even living there by the time I got there. So
Yeah.
no, I mean, bro, like there were some major issues, living in Manchester. But like I said, like shout out to its nightlife,
Yeah.
football, live music,
very good,
the
yeah,
Blues
yeah.
Kitchen,
Yes,
that
yes,
place.
I've heard
Like
of it,
some
yes.
of those places, they were amazing. Like basically, like in Georgia, like you get the more or less the similar options if you want to go out on a Friday night or Saturday. In Manchester, or like I don't even want to start with London, but like, even in Manchester, like you got quite a few options to go. Different vibes, different places, however you feel. Well, even the recreational drugs are very accessible there. But, it's a fun place to be. Like, but for maybe just for a month, it's not a good place to live.
Maybe for a month.
I mean, to really enjoy, like you gotta
talk
go there.
this much, and
Yeah.
then you say maybe for 1 month.
See, when I'm looking at Levan's perspective now, like for example, if I was at your age, if I was to go somewhere and study, and if it was the UK, I don't think I would enjoy it either.
Exactly.
I don't think I would enjoy it. But when, due to the fact that I was living there already, I was used to
Yeah, you
everything.
already had certain conflict.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
and
different
the
story.
passport is
Yeah.
a big thing. Like
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you was in a different country, like you said, with healthcare and stuff like that. In Georgia, we're used to different kind of service in healthcare, right? In the UK, the NHS is completely overrun and it's very slow and things like
Yeah.
that. Here, it's instant. You pay. It's very cheap here
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah.
Healthcare,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you can go and dentistry is very cheap here. You can go and
That's a
have
big one.
Oh, people come here specifically
Exactly,
I
to
used to
get-
fly back to get dental
Yeah,
appointments.
over there, it's people walk around with an infected tooth for 2 years. It's mad.
Because I mean, dentists are in the top 10 professions who are getting the highest paychecks around the world. And
Yeah.
I mean, here when you just come here, it's the cheapest
It
that
is,
you
yeah.
can
They
actually get.
usually run their
with the high
businesses,
quality
yeah.
also. That's what I want to say.
You
that
get the
I mean,
same
nowadays
service, bro,
technology
like-
is excellent, and you're getting really good
Very
dental
good, yeah.
care with a very low
Yeah,
price.
just manual labor costs way less. Like
Yeah.
that would be and the professionals are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. I think in the UK, if you're a dentist,
That's really big
it's
advantage.
very rewarded.
Really big advantage
Here,
over other
it's
countries.
not, which is a shame because you've got to understand with professions like that, you're studying so many years of your life to make what people make as a dentist here is probably the minimum, just over a minimum wage in the UK.
I mean, if you're just a dentist.
Here,
but-
yes, that's why I said
which is
worldwide.
But
Yeah,
most dentists, what they do is like they, eventually they start their own business and
they have their own
office.
clinics.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm
and,
aware. Yeah.
You'll
private.
find your glory in the end. But
Yeah. So, with things like that, with, for example, I've got a friend who's a dentist. She's doing good for herself. I've got a friend, a relative who's a surgeon as well. And when I sort of look at, people like that, young people that are sort of, when I compare that kind of profession in the UK, it's a shame to see that it's not rewarded in this country.
That's not a shame.
That's
That's
very-
tragedy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
when you
tragedy,
see
yeah.
that,
because it's
and
I
plus
think-
extremely
yeah.
good professionals.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, it's
that's
that
probably
really
the biggest
hurts.
thing.
That
honestly,
really hurts. But I mean, that's the reality.
Like we
unfortunately.
made some comparisons, in terms of business and work life, but that's like the real professions, as we call the real professions, professions that matter, like, you know, you're saving the life.
Yeah.
Those professions don't get paid here. Like that's and even though they're good, you know, like everybody appreciates, we have some real good professionals, but
Yeah, it doesn't
just not encouraged. Like I don't even know why is that happening, but
it doesn't really make sense, because if you think about it, somebody that's studied to be a surgeon and is dealing with human life, for example, is making less than somebody that's fixing bugs on an IT website. You know, these it doesn't make sense.
It all comes down to supply and demand, but I don't understand. I mean, there's always a demand for surgeries and stuff like that, but I'm assuming like because we're a small, like, it's probably cheaper to just fly to Turkey, get the surgery done, and fly back.
Yeah.
That's our reality. Like maybe there's not enough initiative to kind of develop this area of the country. Yeah, it's a very, very tough subject.
It is. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways, we talked about so many amazing stuff, and I think this was an amazing episode. Even though we
really
missed basically everything that we wanted to discuss.
No,
except the taxes. Like, at least we covered that.
I think the key moments that Ilia brought here was really, really important for our audience, whoever is watching to us. And even for me, I had a lot of takeaways and a lot of new information that was pretty unfamiliar for me, starting from the how to bend the rules and finishing by this stuff here. So that was really good. Yeah, thank you for that.
Exactly. I mean, my thing is like, I'm so glad that it worked out perfectly. I had more or less the same expectations as this podcast went. Because you really do have a unique perspective. I don't know many people from this side of the planet to move there, like to have kind of, how do you say, a balanced opinion about the UK and Georgia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people have visited both countries, but you actually lived in both countries. You've experienced what's going on there.
Yeah.
So your points were kind of, you know, that's I mean, for our audience, like you guys have wrong impression of the UK and of your own country. Like you don't know many small details, many nuances. So that's why you need to watch our podcast, because we give you this real life experiences. And when you think that, you know, it's all sunshine and rainbows to go somewhere and, you know, it's going to be okay, it's not that simple. And you know, you see the upsides of your country from when you actually leave your country, and when you look from that point of view. I mean, there are many takeaways. It's up to you if you want to listen and take this advice.
I love when you're getting serious and also emotional. And plus, we need Ilia's father in our podcast. So that would be amazing.
That would be a good one. Yeah.
When he finds time. And funny thing is, he was also kind of painter or artistic person, but he has
really.
But yes, he's actually an artist by profession.
That's why he didn't. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't knew that.
He painted but the most amazing thing in right outside of the Manchester. The another mall, the huge mall. What's the name of that?
The Trafford Centre.
The Trafford Centre. Yeah. He was one of the guys who was actually painting the walls of that center, and it's like you know, it's kind of a museum, to be honest. More of a museum than a mall.
Yeah,
it's an amazing place. Like no. I mean, guys, obviously I joke a lot. You know, UK is a shithole. Like, don't get me wrong, but they are amazing in some ways. Just not my cup of tea, as Englishmen like to say. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Ilia, so much.
Thank you both.
I think you're gonna be our guest sometime in the future.
Sure.
Because you know.
You plan staying here, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
And you have some real good advices for our audience. And cheers, as the Mancunians would like to say. And Subscribe us. If you don't subscribe us, just fuck off. Anyways, bye.
Goodbye.
That's it.